have heard the name Nik Wallenda a few times this week. He's the Florida man who plans to walk across Niagara Falls this summer on a Highwire. After much back and forth, the feat was finally green-lighted by parks officials in Niagara last week, joining their counterparts in the U.S. in granting Wallenda approval. We wanted to know a little more about the professional daredevil who will very soon become a household name. So we took him where he clearly feels most comfortable, up in the sky. There is a smile that comes over Nik Wallenda's face when his feet leave the ground. And his excitement was palpable as we flew over the site where he'll make history this summer.
What do you think when you fly over top of them like this?
It's been a dream for a long time. It's something I've wanted to do, and the closer it becomes to reality, the more exciting it gets.
He has it all mapped out. A 45-minute walk, 6 million cubic meters of water rushing under his feet, and he plans to pause, to take in a view no one ever has before.
My great-grandfather Carl put it best, and he said, life is on the wire, and everything else is just waiting. And it's so true. That's life to me. There is no better feeling or bigger feeling of peace than being on that wire.
You're at peace.
Oh, absolutely.
On the wire.
Solitude, it's the most peaceful place you could be.
There is no nerves at all for you?
Not for the actual walk of the wire, no.
Walking across Niagara Falls is just another day at work.
That work starts here, behind his father's house.
These are my wire shoes. My mom makes these for all of us.
In the circus capital of the world, Sarasota, Florida.
If you watch me walk in a few minutes, you'll actually see me slide my feet. If it's raining, my feet will actually not slide, they just grab the wire.
Okay, what can you do in that thing?
I can ride it. You want to sit on my shoulders? I'll take you across.
Yeah, no thanks. Oh my gosh.
All right.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Don't let me go. Please don't let me go. Let me go.
Make no mistake, Nik Wallenda, the wire walker, is equally Nik Wallenda, the showman.
You know, every once in a while, I'll do something to excite the audience. Just for kicks.
Ouch. How fast can you go on that thing?
Pretty fast.
How much is what you do about the crowd?
You know, I'm definitely a showman. It's in my blood. It's what I do. That's totally what I do. I love entertaining people. That's another one of my passions is, you know, making people happy. My career is about making people smile.
Nik is so at ease on the wire because it's almost as if he was destined to do this. 7 generations of Wallenda circus performers have come before him, made famous by their 7-person pyramid.
You can see a replica of our family doing a pyramid on the wire.
It's the stuff circus museums are made of.
Your great-grandfather's outfit.
That's it, right there, yes.
Nik's childhood was spent in big tops surrounded by performers and circus animals.
Ladies and gentlemen, a new generation of the Wallenda dynasty.
Today, he still performs with his family, including his wife, who comes from 8 generations of circus performers herself. His father, Terry, is his chief rigger.
When did you know in Nik's formative years, yeah, he's going to be a wire walker?
We wouldn't let him go up high and walk across the wire until he actually could demonstrate to us he knew what gravity meant.
Does he know what gravity means now?
Yeah, he does. He really does. He just doesn't show it. He's not some crackpot that wants 15 minutes of fame. This is what he's done all his life, and he will continue to do so all his life. He's also a father and a husband. He takes that very seriously. He has no desire anytime soon of leaving them. This just happens to be his career.
Nik says walking on the wire is about respecting the wire and knowing his limitations. But it would be hard to guess what those limitations are. With 6 world records to his name, every walk seems to be about outdoing the last, balancing on the wheel of death, hanging upside down from a helicopter, eventually only with his teeth, and pausing mid-span for his trademark fist pump on one knee to soak in the audience's applause. Of course, walking across the falls is in a category unto itself. Wind, mist, and elevation, any one of which could throw him off, come together to make this crossing all the more perilous.
Next on 16x9, how to plan a walk on 550 meters of steel cable.
The allure of Niagara Falls, the roar of the water, and the heart-stopping 670-meter vertical drop have drawn many to its precipice over the years.
Well, we'd like to put a crane somewhere in this general area right here.
So this would be a crane right here, shooting across to the U.S. side.
That's correct.
Nik Wallenda has been enamored with the falls since he first came here at 6 years old. By walking across them this summer, he will join an exclusive group of barrel jumpers and fellow wire walkers who have dared test their might. Do you ever look down at the water crashing on the rocks and think, that would be bad?
Yeah, but we don't train to fall, we train to stay up.
What sets Nik's attempt apart is that no one has crossed since the 1800s, and never this close to the rushing water. It makes this feat the biggest logistically he's ever tried to pull off. It's not just that you're going to go from this level to that level, you're going to actually go up and over.
Yes, it'll actually drop down in the middle about 30 feet because of the massive distance and the heavy weight of the cable.
The walk will span 550 meters between the Goat Island Lookout on the U.S. side and Table Rock on the Canadian side. Connecting the two countries, a 5-centimeter steel wire made especially for this crossing.
Paint me a picture, if you will, of what the perfect walk across Niagara Falls would look like.
Beautiful, bright day with 100,000 people lining the shores of each side. And I step out onto that wire, and then at that point, there's no audience there. It's me and the wire. And then it's complete peace.
And then you step into the mist?
And I step into the mist and hopefully disappear. I think it would be amazing to see as I'm walking, and all of a sudden I walk into this mist, and envision it. It's like walking into fog. All of a sudden I walk into fog and I'm gone. And then minutes later, you see me walk out the other side victoriously to the other end.
But every Wallenda knows the perfect plan doesn't always happen. Like in 1973, when Nik's great-grandfather Carl fell to his death while walking between two towers in Puerto Rico. He wasn't the only Wallenda to lose his life on the wire. A decade earlier, 2 other family members perished while attempting their famous 7-person pyramid. It was enough for some, like Nik's uncle, to turn away from the wire and never test its will again.
Walking on a tightrope is not fail-safe.
Yeah, you're right. You're correct. It's not. But the odds are, and the averages are, you'll get hit, run over walking across the street more often than you would ever die walking across a wire. We've learned that, training is key, and you better be trained and ready, and if you're not, then you don't do it.
Training today means being in the gym and being on the wire 5 days a week.
We do what we call laps, which is where I'll have my wife sit on my shoulders and I'll just walk back and forth on this wire for 30, 40, 50 times. So it's about overtraining, preparing for the worst, overtraining, so that you'll be fine.
Nik also has a decommissioned airport runway outside of Pittsburgh set aside, where he'll recreate the walk using cranes and the actual wire.
We'll also have mist and it'll probably be fire trucks that'll be spraying water on me. So I know exactly the conditions, the worst conditions that I'll experience.
In case anything does go wrong on the day of the walk, a rescue helicopter and a dive team made up of former Navy SEALs will be on standby. Nik will also be wearing a lanyard so he can attach himself to the wire at any time. And his dad will be with him on headset.
I just like to talk to him for just a moment before he's ready to go.
What will you say to him?
Focus.
When you're talking about Navy SEALs, helicopters, massive feats of engineering, this has got to cost a lot.
It is. It's very expensive.
How much?
You know what? I'm not going to give that information out, but a lot.
Who pays for it?
We have huge sponsors. We have huge, backing from large corporations as well as individuals.
Where do you make money in all of this?
I don't know that I will make money in the Niagara Falls walk.
Come on.
It's true.
Our viewers aren't that foolish.
It's true, though.
An economic impact report that Nik commissioned estimates the walk will bring in $120 million to the Ontario side alone, spurred largely by the estimated 460 million TV viewers.
I've been on the front page of the New York Times above the fold. I've been on the front page of the Il Aviv, the biggest paper in Greece. I've been on the front page of the papers in Ethiopia, Taiwan, Japan, all regarding this already. The world's eyes are watching this.
As for after the 45 minutes of glory are over, well, Nik hopes to set up a permanent show in Niagara Falls, Ontario. That and a few other things, like crossing the Grand Canyon, traversing the Continental Divide in Turkey, and setting a new world record on the wire with a unicycle.
You're determined.
No means maybe to me. It never means no.
But first, it's the Falls, a spectacle not seen in more than a century, by a man who's made a name for himself by taking spectacles to new heights.
Excited?
Extremely ecstatic, beyond excitement. It's like a kid going to Disney World for the first time. This is life. This is what it's about.
Next on 16 by 9, how will you survive the end of the world?
And he plans to pause, to take in a view no one ever has before.
My great-grandfather Carl put it best, and he said, life is on the wire, and everything else is just waiting. And it's so true. That's life to me. There is no better feeling or bigger feeling of peace than being on that wire.
This summer,
What do you think when you fly over top of them like this?
It's been a dream for a long time. It's something I've wanted to do, and the closer it becomes to reality, the more exciting it gets.
he has it all mapped out. A 45-minute walk, 6 million cubic meters of water rushing under his feet.
In Niagara last week, joining their counterparts in the U.S. in granting Wallenda approval. We wanted to know a little more about the professional daredevil who will very soon become a household name. So we took him where he clearly feels most comfortable, up in the sky. You may have heard the name Nik Wallenda a few times this week. He's the Florida man who plans to walk across Niagara Falls this summer on a Highwire. After much back and forth, the feat was finally green-lighted by parks officials.
There is a smile that comes over Nik Wallenda's face when his feet leave the ground. And his excitement was palpable as we flew over the site where he'll make history